okay, gotta find another way in. And then,
He crossed the whole ocean to see me, guys. Hey guys, I'm Kelly.
And I'm Matt.
I'm from America, more specifically Austin, Texas.
And I'm from the UK, more specifically Sheffield, England.
And this is
Our story.
our love story in the mix of a pandemic.
So we've been together for about a year now. We met on a boat where we were both working. And before the pandemic, whenever we were both off work, getting to see each other and spend time together was as easy as buying a ticket to wherever the other person was.
Yeah, we now know that it was a luxury.
Yeah.
That he could come to America at any time and I could go see him at any time wherever he was.
Yeah.
So
Now it's not the same.
it's not that way at all.
So right before the pandemic kicked off and all the travel bans came into force, I was actually at work in Gran Canaria in Las Palmas.
Which is a tiny little island for my Americans. It's a tiny little island owned by Spain off the coast of Africa, and it's where Christopher Columbus was at before he sailed the ocean blue to find the Americas.
Interesting.
Fun fact.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Did not know that at all.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I was visiting him in Las Palmas, Gran Canaria, and it was right before everything shut down. Like, coronavirus was kind of like a whisper in the wind.
Yeah.
Like-
So it's kind of on the news a little bit. There was,
Yeah.
This virus coming from overseas, and it was, I think there was maybe 50 cases a day in the UK. I'm not sure about the US.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know, to be honest.
Yeah. And then almost, it seemed like overnight, everyone was talking about shutting down.
Yeah. And I was like, they can't do that. They can't do that. That's never happened before. Like, they're not going to be able to shut down. And then it got to a point to where it was like, will I even be able to leave Gran Canaria and go home to the US?
Yeah.
Like, it happened like that.
Yeah, so quick.
And even the beaches in Las Palmas, like, one day everyone was there, hundreds of people. I mean, we were there during, what was the festival?
I can't remember. It basically, there's a week-long festival in Las Palmas that ends, the final day is actually a huge drag queen festival.
Huge drag queen, like, competition show, and then like a huge parade through
The streets are filled.
the streets are filled.
Crazy.
It ends with a huge fireworks show, the burning of a fish in
Yeah.
the middle of the ocean. Like, there's so many people there. You go from one day of that, where it's like populations of like thousands of people upon thousands of people, to the next day, no one can be on the beach.
Yeah. The local police force that deals with the locals and the tourists, they had the Land Rovers going up and down the beach.
Yeah.
Everything was
Taped
cordoned
off.
off, taped
Yeah.
off. You just,
Like a crime scene.
yeah, you were not allowed on there at all.
Yeah, and you would get yelled at if you were like walking too slowly. Like, it went from
Freedom.
super packed to not at all. And that's where it came in of, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get home to America. Matt was there for work, so he was getting on a boat to sail offshore, so he didn't have to worry about leaving, but I did. And I had a hard enough time getting there.
Yeah.
That's a different story. But so I quickly got a flight home. Anyway, so fast forward, I'm home.
Yep.
I actually get coronavirus.
You did.
Takes me out for like a month. Guys, it's no joke. I've now had it twice, and it's no joke at all. This is a serious matter, and so we understand why things are shut down.
Yeah.
We
Absolutely.
just don't understand why it's so hard to get to one another as loved ones.
Yes. Yeah.
And so love is not tourism.
Yeah.
So we went from March to June without seeing each other.
Yeah.
And the only reason why we got to see each other was because
I got work. So the vessel that had been supposed to go into Ghana, then got work in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Which is where the boat was working when we first met.
Mm-hmm.
So talking to the office back and forwards, and I was like, this is my way in. Like, America wasn't allowing people
to fly in.
to fly in.
Yeah.
you had to have done 2 weeks quarantine before you could get over the border. So the way that we're looking at it was, okay, well, the transit from the UK to America is going to be about 17 days. So that would be the 14 days quarantine outside of everywhere that we needed.
Yeah.
So like, cool. I spoke to the office. I was like, I want to stay on.
How long did you stay on, babe?
I did 98 days.
98 days.
98 days. From that point, I was in. I had my entry stamp. Immigration came to the vessel. So I was free to do what I wanted then.
Yeah. So he was able to get a flight from Boston to Austin.
Yes.
In order to see me.
Yeah.
But then you went, because he had to go back to Massachusetts for work, but then you were out of work and you had to
so
go back to the UK.
Yeah, the vessel was supposed to work a little bit longer, but we got through the project a little bit quicker. And I also had to go back to the UK for offshore medicals.
And visa
and
renewal.
And visa renewal.
Yeah.
So I was supposed to go home, get all those things done, come back for another month rotation, and then I'd have been able to just, again,
stay.
Because I'd have entered as an essential worker, and I could have flown down after my rotation to Texas.
Right. But
if only that was the case.
Oh gosh.
So they ended up finishing the project early before I ended up going back for a rotation. So this was in August.
So he goes through a whole nother rotation of work.
Yes.
Plus some.
Yes. But while I'm there, I'm reading up on the internet about other people in similar situations. And this is where we stumbled across the Loveisnottourism website, which if you guys are out there and you're having a similar problem and you haven't seen about it, go to the link or the address. It's amazing. There's the people on there, they're sending petitions to the different governments, and it's going places as well. There's now several European countries where non-married couples,
which is us,
or it would be us if our governments had paid attention.
Yeah.
They can actually get a special kind of visa where, they're recognizing that just because you're not married, it doesn't mean you're not in a committed relationship.
Loving relationship.
Exactly.
Right. And which has been like the worst part, because everyone watching knows the toll that coronavirus has impacted on everyone.
Yeah.
Mental health, like all this stuff, and I don't want to say we're different, because we've been away from like the person that we love for so long, because we're together now, but Matt is so amazing in the fact that he found a loophole in order to get here.
Yeah, so reading through the different websites, and then going back and rereading the proclamations, and the wording is very specific in the sense of, if you're from the UK, you can't have been in the UK or the Schengen zone in the past 14 days to enter. So it's not a complete blanket travel ban on people traveling from the UK. You just can't have been in certain areas in the past 14 days.
Yeah. So it sucked because at that moment, the US could travel to wherever, but I couldn't because of COVID. I went into a new career path to where I couldn't leave. Yeah. And so it was all on him, which sucked.
Fair.
But you did it.
Yeah, needs must.
Yeah.
So now I'm looking at the countries that are part of that ban and trying to get a plan of where I can enter the US from that's not going to cause too many problems.
Yeah.
And the two places that I came up with that I read on the internet, first one was Mexico, second one was Turkey. Now, I mentioned these to Kel, and she wasn't comfortable with me doing either, really, on my own, which is as it was going to be. But as it was hurricane season, it was kind of battering through Mexico.
Yeah, I had a girlfriend in Mexico in the same time that he was like, no, I'm going to go to Mexico. It's a little bit cheaper. It's closer to the US.
Yeah.
And she had to leave where she was staying in Mexico because of a hurricane. And I'm like, we are not getting you to Mexico to have a hurricane take you out.
Yeah, or for me to get turned back around and sent home because it's not safe.
Exactly.
So I went to Turkey.
And more natural disasters followed him.
Yeah, so I'd been in Turkey. I did 14 days.
By himself.
By myself.
Because he's amazing. And I love you.
it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
But for those of you who are desperate to get back to a loved one, it's worth it, because as long as that 14, it's actually 15 days, because I did 15 just to make sure. Like, getting back to Kelly at the airport was worth doing it all over again. Then for the last few days I travelled up to Istanbul, and then I get a message on my phone, and it's from my mum, and she's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine, 2 more days and I'm on my way, of course I'm fine, She's like, no, the earthquake." I'm like, "No, I've slept through an earthquake. We had one in the UK, I don't know if you guys remember the Dudley tremor, it was a few years back. But I slept through it. I was in the Air Force at the time, and the guy in the bed space next to me thought a train was coming through the building. So if there was an earthquake in my area, unless it was really close, I didn't stand a chance of hearing it."
Mm-hmm.
So. But yeah, so.
But then the earthquake caused a tsunami on the coast where he just was.
Yeah, so.
Anyways.
So I'm getting all these messages, and Kelly's getting messages from her school, workmates, and she's like, "Is Matt okay?" So.
And yeah. I'm like, "I think he's okay." And then he texted me and he was like, "If you hear anything, if you see anything, don't worry, I'm okay."
I'm fine. Yeah.
But yeah. And so you spent 2 weeks, 15 days, so a day more than 2 weeks in Turkey, just to be able to come over here. And then how did they accept you whenever you got to JFK?
JFK was fine. It all was. The flights were long, but they're bound to be. It's transatlantic. I got to JFK, and then it was the longest, slowest queue ever.
Which is a line to Americans.
Went to the booth. The nicest woman was there. I handed her my passport. I'm like, "I'm seeing all these people with paper. I haven't got any." I assumed it was just this. I was like, "I've got an Esther." She scanned it. She was like, "Yep, you're fine." Stamped it, and I was on my way. I was in the US and got to the gate with about 5 minutes to spare.
Yeah. Like a movie.
Yeah. So, and then from JFK, 4.5-hour flight, and by this time, it's like I've been awake since 8 the previous day, and it's now kind of like my 10 a.m. the next day.
It goes over like 24 hours that he ended up traveling.
I was tired.
Yes, you were. But you made it.
But I made it.
And now we're here together.
We are.
And he gets to have some of the holidays with us.
I'm doing my first Thanksgiving.
His first Thanksgiving.
Which is going to be awesome.
But we just wanted to come on here because we are huge fans of the movement that's happening right now.
Absolutely.
Of the love is not tourism.
No.
Because it's not. You're not coming in to just dilly-dally, walk around, spread the virus and or catch it. You're here
to see a loved one. And if you go on the websites or you search the hashtag, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of couples in exactly the same situation.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that with the job that I have a luxury where I can go off for 2 weeks. Like a lot of people, especially this late in the year, in the UK especially, they get 4 weeks holiday. You can't spend half of that to then spend the other half getting to a country to see someone, knowing that when you come back you then have to quarantine for 2 weeks. So it's impractical, it's unfair. I hope more governments pay attention.
So some of the governments that have really seen this movement and are starting to change things are...
So it's going in the right direction. Hopefully, as we learn more about the virus, because the more we learn how to live with it and how to cope with it, hopefully these things aren't an issue for much longer. But for those who are, there are ways around it. If you can do them, I 100% recommend doing it. And for those of you who can't, hopefully it's not long.
Yeah. So I hope you kiss your loved one tonight, especially if you get to see them every day. Just cherish them.
Yeah.
Because that's a luxury right now.
And those who are still holding out, just stick with it.
Yeah. You'll find a way.
Yeah.
We believe.
Okay. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
But at the end of the day, like I know it's real, and I know you're the one because you're willing to go spend 2 weeks in a different country by yourself to get to me.
Yeah.
Like you were willing to spend 3 months on the boat and cross the Atlantic Ocean to get to me, and I'm so incredibly thankful.
Very well. I would do it again.
But
Don't make me.
I will.